My forehead is whiter
Is
than
that the
yours,
intro to
so-
the video? Is my forehead too white?
Let's do a little intro here of how we actually met.
Okay.
All right, so I know you through Michael. How did you and Michael actually meet?
So before I was ever a full-time content creator, I actually worked for an earbud company, and I did like all the social media marketing for them. So I actually learned a lot about how to craft stuff for social media through them. And we were doing a video shoot in a studio, and Michael was running it. It was Make Life Studios, near Dumbo.
Yeah.
And I remember at that time in my channel, I was just doing like tech reviews and stuff like that. And eventually I just kind of got like fed up feeling like I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do, because I wanted to educate people on how to make music, and kind of do it in my own fashion and teach in my own ways. And I wasn't really talking about that. I was talking about like gear that you could buy. Michael was like, hey, I'm a drummer, and I drum with an acoustic kit in my bedroom. And I was like, I'm not going to find another person who does this. So we did the first recreation together. And that's how I met Michael, was the Radiohead video, which kind of...
Radiohead, or was it Mac DeMarco?
Oh, yeah, Mac DeMarco was first, but the full recreation of a whole entire song was Radiohead.
Yeah.
And that, like, essentially turned my career into the trajectory that it is currently.
So you're saying Michael saved you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
He absolutely did. In a not facetious way at all, actually.
And then, I met you just by nature of living with this man.
Yeah.
So you were the one who came up with the idea of us like collaborating in any way, shape, or form, really.
Yeah.
I guess, well, maybe not technically. I don't know who came up with it. When you were doing the Rage video,
Yeah.
at some point, either Michael suggested it or you suggested it.
Yeah. We traded services.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know whose idea it was. But basically after that, for the Juice video, for the Beatles video,
Yeah.
you were like...
I'm going to go in and
okay.
I'm really scared. It's like really hot.
It's hot.
I'm not going to touch it. Sorry.
For the Juice video, you were like, all right, I'm going to pitch you this concept. What made you want to, like, I don't know, I guess, try that out versus... Because you were like, all right, to make it fair to you guys, like, you guys could post the performance on your page and I'll continue to do everything else. But, yeah, I guess, like, what made you want to make that leap for that video?
I think in a lot of ways, my journey as a content creator is... I don't want to sound too like up my own ass, but it's kind of different than I think the general advice, which is put as many things out as possible. And people may not say this directly, but you know, we're taught to like believe that the algorithm should be this thing that you're constantly feeding, and have sort of like quantity over quality. And the only way that I'm able to do this as a living is when I decided, fuck that. And I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to take 3 months to build this video. And I hope it works. And just hoping that like person behind the digit on the screen can sort of sense that. So,
So
I'm just like mediating in the middle right now.
It was a little bit like, did you hear that? So anytime that I'm able to like put myself in a position where I'm a little uncomfortable with the jump that we're making, like making this giant film production that involved go renting this massive generator from Long Island City and bringing it back and pulling it up a bunch of stairs in an apartment building that we may or may not get kicked off of. All that stuff, I think at the end of the day, every time that I put myself in those scenarios where I sort of up the level, and, you know, and algorithm be damned, time to make it be damned, it works.
Did you have a backup plan in place in case we like, all right, let's say like we got kicked off or whatever, the cops like, all right, yeah, it's fun to like go back to your home base and be like, okay, guys, here's the update we got. But then like, then what? Yeah. What was the backup plan?
No, you have a backup plan. You do that. I don't. I'm like, I think it'll probably work. And that's how we work, is you like think about it and you try and make sure there's contingencies and figure it out. And I'm like, let's try and like wire this up like some like handmade
It's funny because
bomb.
in my side of the industry, there's directors and creative directors, and those are the people who generally know literally nothing about what it will take to get the vision done. They just have the vision.
Yeah.
And then there's like the producers and the DPs, which is me, who go like, well, we have to consider X, Y, Z, and the director's like, no, we need a dolly and a hot air balloon on the beach right now, 1 hour till sunset. It's gotta happen. Like,
Yeah.
you're very much a toned down version of that.
Yeah.
But my like producer DP brain is like, okay, as a walk up, we need a generator. How many outlets do we have on the generator? What decibel range are we legally allowed to make before the cops are called? Like,
Yeah,
you
totally.
know,
Yeah,
it's
like
funny.
I mean, even on the most recent video, the sort of like sister video to this one, the Mk.gee one, that was such a scrappy audio setup. It was a Tascam already had a Focusrite interface and a bunch of extension cables to basically take exactly what's in my room and stretch it within like this anatomy of a Home Depot rental car.
Yeah.
And it didn't fully work sometimes. Like the drum machine cut out and we had to like re-overdub the drum machine.
Yeah.
And actually that drum machine broke and I had to find a modeler of it. And I don't know, like I think just not having if I were to think about all those things too much and not go in knowing that this is a pretty scrappy setup, but it'll work at the end of the day. It always has in some way, shape, or form. It might not be exactly the way that I envisioned it, but it will make an end result. And not sort of hyper obsessing over the details of it is the only way I know how to do it.
It's funny because when we do collaborations together, I have literally no idea what you are doing. Like, I don't, like, you know, you mentioned like, oh, we had a scrappy setup. We did that. If someone asked me like, oh, what was the audio setup for the Mk.gee? I would be like, I don't fucking, like,
Yeah.
I don't know before or after what you're doing. And what's funny is like, because of that, I also don't know how stressed you are or not in the moment. Like normally when we do the bigger ones, like Birds of a Feather, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a whole team. We had a lot of work to do. And so I was like, go, like hyper focused. With Candy, that was the first time I had literally like nothing to do. Like I showed up. I had a single camera on a gimbal. I gave everyone 2 Apple boxes to sit on. And then I just sat around waiting, minding my business, like with Bianca in the back. And that was amazing for me. But also, do you think you have any idea what I'm doing when we're on set? Or are you equally like, I have no...
No, I just fully, like you are much more detail oriented than me. So I just trust what you've got going on is going to work. And it's funny though, because I fully believe that between like the Billie Eilish one and the Mk.gee one or the Beatles one, in my head, and at least what I've seen like metric wise so far, we'll see when this video comes out, people like the more volatile setup. People like watching because the Mk.gee video, that guitar synth was from 1995. The cassette player was from 1998. The pedals were all used. That guitar was broken. I had to repair it. And people want to see if that shit works. And I think, you know, when we think about the Billie Eilish one, we were using $10,000, $20,000 worth of audio equipment. There was no risk.
Yeah.
And I think people like...
Was that all from Rift or was that like...
That was all from Rift.
Okay.
Yeah, or Sennheiser.
Okay.
People really like to see what's going to happen. And if there isn't a risk of something not working, I mean, like the Beatles video, whole premise of that was, let's see if this even sounds as good as we think it does. Did they overdub this? So I don't know. I kind of like feed off of that, and I think other people do too.
What I think is funny is like we talk about like using all this equipment for Birds of a Feather, and I mean comparatively, like in terms of the things we've done together, that was the biggest, most involved setup from all ends. But I don't think people realize too, like, while you're simultaneously scaling up, it's still super DIY. Like, at the end of the day, like, maybe Billie Eilish's budget for that was like 200 grand, and ours like all in was like maybe 2 grand with like the location, the crew, the like. Yeah, we were using really fancy gear, but it's either like favors we pulled, people who donated time, stuff we owned personally. So it's like it's simultaneously scaled up, but also still pretty scrappy. And I think that might still be lost in translation, especially if people are like, oh, like you're like doing stuff in studio now with like $2,000 microphones, and it's like, yeah, but I kind of cried to get it, you know, like I was like, please give me this microphone.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think even still, like it is true that whether or not we like pull sort of like insane favors or whatever mental gymnastics we have to do to get to a location, they are, the budget wise, they are very similar on each shoot. I think for the most part, the Beatles one might have been the cheapest. Yeah. Because I remember trying to find a location and be like, I'm not paying this shit.
For me, the Mk.gee one was the cheapest. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I had to rent. Guitar Center helped a lot with that. They were super chill with the budgeting. But renting the truck with all the gear that I had to buy, like all of the gear that Mk.gee uses or anything even like peripheral to what he uses has gone up so much in price, which is, I guess, just, 5 years from now, it might change.
Blame the tariffs.
Yeah.
All right, so we've now done Rage Against the Machine, the Beatles, Billie Eilish, Mk.gee. Although I did not film the performance video for Rage, which of these collabs was your favorite? Both in terms of, that can be anywhere from like how the outcome was to how the process was, or just like how the actual like working together was.
Yeah. I think, I don't know about Mk.gee yet. It was a really fun shoot. Incredibly hard to produce. I think, honestly, transparently, I don't even know if I'm going to put this in my video edit, it's the least accurate of any one of them. The guitar solo nailed it. I think that was about as close as anyone's gotten. But everything else, he's such an idiosyncratic player. But it was really fun to shoot. One I'm most proud of is still to this day Rage. That was a terrifying video to make. I would have nightmares. I would wake up and be like, I can't believe I have to show this to like. Rage is my first favorite band. Obsessed with them in 3rd grade. And I have to show it to the producer. And then he's got to be like, yes or no.
And I guess like, when we think about it, that is also the only one where you straight up sat down in front of the original creator. Yeah. Like, Phineas or whoever they might come across your videos, but this is the first time you actually were like, please grade my work in real time.
Yeah. And not only that, he gave me the unmixed tracks. And I don't know if you remember, but in that interview, he said, like, the greatest mixers, and I try to internalize this so much, the greatest mixers out there know how to record, and then they use one EQ and one compressor. And then at the end of the interview, I remember trying to sneak by. I was like, all right, so just like 2 or 3 compressors, 2 or 3 EQs. And he went, no, one EQ and one compressor. That's like trying to make like a wooden sculpture with a chisel and a hammer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I remember him going on his thing like in the studio. He was like, you got too many fucking options now. Like just turn it all off. Like they're going to be there forever.
And I didn't even make it to that. I tried my best to, but I didn't get there. So that was really insane, but I'm still like, it's ridiculous that I got to do that. It's ridiculous that he gave me never before seen footage. He didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
He had no clue what I was about, but he was trusting enough and he just believed in the video enough to be like, yeah, go ahead and show Sound City footage that's never been seen before.
That's how I felt too with like Josh, the DP for the original Billy performance.
Yeah. I
was like, what if I just found the guy? Went on Facebook, used my like private network to be like, hey guys, like it's such a like an incestuous industry. I was like, someone's got to know who did this.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, I get linked up to Josh, send him a cold email.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, this sounds sick. Like, let's meet up. And I was like, what? And then he sent us like never before seen behind the scenes footage from the Billie Eilish set, which like he had more, but he was like, I'm legally not allowed to release this to you. So like I could only get stuff where her voice was not in the background or where like she was not in the background, right?
Yeah.
But even that was like incredible. just getting that like wealth of information. And then like a similar experience for me, I then was like sent it directly to him and I was like, here you go, Josh, like here's how he did. And he was really nice about it. He was like, I think given the location restrictions you had, which was a fourth of the size of his, and the fact that you didn't have a 20-foot air balloon in your studio, like you guys got pretty damn close. Which like, yeah, I think I'm proud of that for the budget that we had and the constraints that we had. I know my friend Josh, who did the gimbal on that shoot, he's such a dreamer that he's the guy that would like, he's very similar to you. He's like, what if we just did this? Like all safety disregarded, like, I don't know. And so he was like, okay, what if we like build a 12 by 12 frame up in the ceiling and then we like rig, like basically what we have here, like, you know, wall spreaders with these massive things. And I was like, this studio is so expensive, Josh. I'm not touching anything in this. But can you imagine if we fucked up Tom Gardner's like $1 million studio with one of these things? Like, no.
I was pretty freaked out in that space too. I was intimidated. I was like, I felt like very gentle with using the mics and tried to be very ginger with them. And yeah, that was an intense shoot. I remember the UA routing.
Oh God.
Problem. That was fun.
That was,
yeah. We had all of our for the audio engineers out there. We had all the inputs reflected and mirrored in the wrong way for like an hour straight, and the entire film crew was just like.
I remember you panicking.
Holes in the back of our heads.
Yeah.
Both of us were panicking hardcore.
Well, that goes back down to me being like, I have no idea what you guys are doing, right? So like, I can't even necessarily have like empathy for what. Like, imagine if I knew genuinely what was happening. I was like, oh man, I hate when that happens. Like, I don't fucking know. Yeah. So I'm just like, are you guys being perfectionists? Are you guys like?
No, we just weren't getting audio.
Yeah. I remember on that video, I rolled up to set, and it was first thing in the morning. I walked in the room. And y'all had already built like your whole setup with the microphones and the drums, whatever. And I was just like, yeah, all this has to move. Like we need to get lights and cameras or whatever in here. And you guys were like, and it's just like such a classic like example of how unfamiliar we each are with each other's worlds, right? Yeah. That like, I felt bad, genuinely. But then I was like, yeah, fuck all your work. Like, it's camera team now. Like, we're going to come in and, like, own this whole space for an hour.
We tried to, like, slide the drums on the carpet, didn't we? When we were like, let's see if we can just take this entire $20,000 rig and just, like, pull it. Which I don't think we ended up doing.
No, and I remember Michael, like, I was like, what the fuck? And Michael, like, leaned over and he was like, he's learning. He doesn't know.
I felt really bad, too, because I came in with, like, some of, like, the interfaces and stuff, and I walked in out, and it was the first thing I said to you, Ethan, and Liam, who I haven't met at all. And I was just like, that's got to move. And I was like, and then I was like, that was mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you got to be intense when you're on shoots. That's another thing is compared to like the regular videos, which generally like because they're so take based and it's not like a live performance, are very sort of chill. Do however many takes you need, but like with these like live shoots, it's very like the adrenaline is like up. And,
yeah.
Like I actually like I chase that shit now. It's really fun.
You chase the adrenaline high?
I mean, like, I don't know. Probably by the time this video comes out, I wouldn't have made the announcement. But the channel is launching an entirely new series that's just live sessions because of how much I enjoy them.
Hell yeah.
And how much more, I don't know, it feels like human, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to be a content creator sometimes because you watch the finished video and, of course, it looks like this complete sort of story, but so much of like what I do is like pretty isolating sometimes. So it's nice to just like have sort of environments where you feel very like connected to the people around you and what you're doing.
That's like a perfect pivot to my next talking point, which is actually working together, right? I feel like we all bring like really different energies. Like, how do you feel our collaboration like changes what you would have done alone and what you've done before?
Yeah.
Other than your new like adrenaline addiction.
So also, sorry, like you wiping my fucking forehead. I'm overheating. That's why I'm wearing a tank top. But I think in a lot of ways, the way that we work in terms of the audio, it's made me realize, you'll see where I'm going with this in a second, but like kind of the beauty and imperfection. Like, for example, we've had multiple live shoots where the drums bleed into a lot of things. And if I was in sort of my regular recreation, that would have never happened. I might have like redone the guitars 40 times in a row until I got to the point where I liked it. And with these sessions, both like the Beatles, NPR was another one that I was like this, with Billie Eilish, you just kind of gotta like let whatever has happened happen. And you start to realize, and one thing I've learned a lot through this is that this is a super audio nerdy thing, but people really like that. People like a vocal that isn't perfect. People like the fact that on the Beatles shoot, one of the singers flubbed the line in the same way John Lennon did. People like knowing that like these things are less sort of orchestrated than I think a lot of things that we listen to are.
You know, it's actually a perfect example that I was just talking about someone with this yesterday. You remember LimeWire?
Mm-hmm.
LimeWire was us, all millions of people sharing this one version of a song that someone copied from a CD, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in my car the other day and Swing Swing came on, which like, whoa, throwback, right?
Yeah.
I remember my whole childhood, the first, maybe 10 years of my life, Swing Swing always had a skip in the beginning because everyone got it from LimeWire.
Yeah.
And whoever copied it, their CD skipped. So millions of people were used to hearing it with the skip in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a perfect stream on Spotify. And it actually psyched me out. And I was like, I hate this. Where's my like I need the skip in the beginning. And I was talking to someone about it. And we were just having like this very, I don't know, I guess millennial experience together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
Totally. I mean, my favorite records are like that. My Elliott Smith recorded on cassettes that he would erase and record new stuff on and get more noise, and it's hissy and harsh, but it becomes like part of it. I will say that like this most recent one with Mk.gee was concerning because specifically with Mk.gee, he's got this really distant vocal and no one knows how he does it. It's a big question. And I just had to go off of the information that I had. There's only 2 interviews he's ever done, and they don't explain this. So there's no microphone in the shot. So we'll put the microphone way down here away from the singer's face and just accept that the truck and the street noise and the wind and the rattling of the metal is gonna be part of it.
I remember you telling Ethan, like, ideally you hold this 2 feet away from your face.
Yeah.
Was that to try to get that distant?
It
vocal?
was,
Okay.
yeah. And I had like, if you're talking about like, specifically when it comes to like working with video and bigger teams and kind of like adjusting to the point where you're uncomfortable, I had a bunch of backups that I had to throw away. Like I had a microphone that was going to be out of frame, but we reoriented them to be at the back of the pickup truck rather than the front.
And that was because of the rattling.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, microphone can't be in the middle of the shot. Got to ditch that microphone. You know what I mean? And you just have to sort of accept it. And I was actually pretty shocked that a mic this far away from Ethan got as sort of like, it just got the vibe in the right way. It was distant, but it was direct enough. There wasn't a lot of bleed. And when there was bleed, like when cars would pass or anything like that, it was kind of musical. Like there was this sort of swell in and out, which was cool.
If I could change one thing, it would be that in that video, I realized, so like I sent it to the colorist and I'm like asking them, I'm like, yo, this is driving me crazy. Like some moments, like the white balance is changing. What's going on? I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, is it the sun bouncing off the truck because the truck is metal? And then I realized it's the fucking hazard lights, which are flashing on their face and causing the camera's white balance to change every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's also making like each of them have different exposures.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until we like there's a part in the video where they like drive through the trees again, and the sun is blocked, and then you just see the pink glare.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if I could do one thing, it was turn those hazard lights
But
off.
it's kind of cool.
But
That's one thing though. Like, how about, here's a question for you. How do you feel about embracing those sort of imperfections in video?
I don't.
You don't like them?
No, and I think like you and I we've worked together really well so far. Hopefully we continue to do so. We do have different philosophies on like, you like when shit kind of looks a little rough and like DIY, and like when shit goes wrong, that's like part of the story for you.
Yeah.
And for me, like coming from like a polished like film background, like I'm like, no, it's gonna look like I was bad at my job. Like people will think I'm an amateur. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't think of this in advance, stuff like that. You know, like one of my like pet peeves is when people, like when clients or something can't think of like what to put in the background of a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just like, oh, just like put all of our equipment in the background to look cool. I'm like, no, it won't. It's going to look like I forgot to move stuff. And one time I was doing a podcast, a big podcast in the Spotify studios. And the creative team was like, yeah, let's put like C-stands back there and like light cases or whatever. And I was like, you guys, like the light cases have logos on them. The C-stands will reflect light. Like, please don't do this to me. Sure enough, I show someone the video when it's done. First thing they say to me is like, you know, there's like a light case back there. I was like, yep. And multiple people then were like, did you know there's like equipment back? Like like there's a C-stand leg in the shot. And I'm like, yep, I know. So yeah, in my realm of things, it generally just looks like I'm bad at my job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get to certain levels in audio, that's true. I have a buddy who missed out on a pretty big record and got kicked off a major label debut. I don't want to say the artist, but he got kicked off because they sent him a mix revision at 3 a.m. and he wasn't awake. And they found somebody else because they were in a rush. They were in a panic. And they needed it that moment. So they found an engineer that was awake. He got the mixing credit.
Yeah.
I think that's just like...
The film industry is the same exact way.
Yeah.
Same exact way.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, like with my stuff, I'm not talking to people like that. I'm trying to get people that are kind of like flirting with the idea of going into audio, learning about production, realizing that they may want to record, and I want to be this sort of voice that makes it look fun. You know, I don't think there's a lot of content out there that's like about the story of production. A lot of the content is about like, hi, let's get this new sound by like opening up Ableton, and let's make this like plug-in chain, and that's how you sound like Billie Eilish. And I don't think that's very entertaining. So I'm not trying to necessarily appeal to that demographic. I'm trying to appeal to the people that are, you know, intimidated by a lot of what's out there. So the imperfection is good. The imperfection shows you that like you could do it too. It's going to be okay. And you probably wouldn't have noticed the imperfection, but I pointed it out anyways.
This is like a little fun one, but like we talked a little bit about how, first of all, I have no idea what the fuck you're doing on set.
Yeah.
And also things constantly go wrong.
Mhm.
Who is your go-to person on set when things get hectic? Like
Michael.
I was going to say the one you look to for problem solving or peace.
Michael. Absolutely.
Yeah? For peace?
Yeah.
Because every time I look at him, he's like this.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm like, Michael, help so I can be at peace. Because I'm usually running around with like mic positions. I'm worried about like levels for musicians, making sure that they have all the gear they need. Like on the Beatles video, one of the guitar strings broke, and we had to like run to the nearest guitar shop to get it instantly. And
Oh, I remember that. And I
Yeah.
remember us, the video team was like waiting around, and we kept being like, what are we waiting for? And they were
Yeah.
like, guitar strings. We were like, okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
actually ever realize it. I think because I was
no,
messing with the
and-
interfaces.
But,
I'm going to get a hair
Michael
that's on your
is
chin.
Michael is extremely good at audio routing, and which sucks because when
Wow.
audio routing doesn't work, he has to figure out the most complicated puzzle of the set.
Yeah.
But he's very good at it, and he probably gets very stressed at it. But I also know that when he goes for it and he does figure it out, he's 100%, like he's got a 100% hit rate. He has always figured it out.
Oh, that's such a good line. 100% hit rate.
Yeah. Like,
Oh.
I look at the mess and I'm like, oh, this is really bad. Anyways, I know that in 2 hours, Michael is going to have figured it out. But this looks fucked.
I kind of do that too. Like, you know, now Michael like straddles the worlds between like film, lighting, and like audio,
Yeah.
right? And music. And so like when I hire him for my sets, you know, sometimes I don't even really give him full directions. I just kind of like gesture and grunt, and I'm like, you know. He's like mad as fuck about it, right? He's like, this fucking bitch. But he does it. But he does. So I'm like, prove me wrong, and I'll give you directions next time.
Yeah.
Maybe stop with your 100% hit rate,
Yeah.
and then you'll get clear instructions next
You
time.
just got to be worse at what you do, and then you'll
Hell
be less stressed.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, it's you know, at one point we talked about the sessions being like kind of DIY and raw, and when it comes to the audio world for Seawall, I think I kind of resonate more with the more heavy, kind of more perfection side of the production.
Oh yeah, Michael's a perfectionist.
Heavy perfectionist.
Yeah, drives me nuts.
Um,
But then I can't like talk shit because like on the video, like I derailed your train of thought, but like we get into it sometimes politely only because like he'll be like, this audio take is better, and I'm like, this video take is better, and then we just like, well, what's worse for the audience? Like which one is better in the best way, you know?
Yeah, it's the
But
way to
sorry,
do
I
it.
derailed
No,
your
you're good.
thought.
And I think on our last shoot we did in Chicago, was that our
Yeah,
last shoot?
April, yeah.
That room was a little bit more lively than we normally have shot in. It was like a very like more concrete space, a lot of reflections.
Big boom, like imagine like an old garage.
And this is the first time we've, other than working with the collaboration with you for the Beatles, it's the first time we've done a full kit.
Full miking array on the kit too.
And typically for Seawall, I love the raw setup because it allows the artists to do something very different from their production.
Because he's lazy.
No.
I mean, sure,
No.
but it forces the artist to do something different. So when they come to our channel, they're coming for that specific song, the way they played it, that arrangement, and the way that it came together in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's partially why I like to not always do full kit. Now, we've done some more broken down versions of a kit, which I really loved, and I want to play with more in this space. But that Chicago session was a full kit, and the amount of bleed of that kit into the mics,
It's
intense, especially the vocal mic.
Like camping.
Exactly.
It's intense. Dude, everything's just out there having a good time in the wilderness.
And so it took me a while to get okay with that kind of more open sound instead of more of like the very focused sound that you can kind of get when things are a little bit more locked in.
Yeah, like the Wolfpack sort of vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like now I'm learning kind of more of like what you were talking about with kind of just accepting how things are and creating the atmosphere with what you have.
Totally. Yeah, I think this whole journey has been essentially me becoming more, in some ways it's more traditional, but in other ways it's not, but more and more of a traditionalist in the sense that the less processed it sounds, the more bleed I get, it seems like people connect with it more. So the less I can do, ideally, the better, which is oftentimes much more about the miking than it is about the production and the mixing or anything like that.
Kind of pivoting off that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it difficult for you to balance between wanting to scale up the videos, but also like remaining grounded and in touch with that core audience of people? Like I know you've talked about that a lot.
Totally.
And that's why part of me was like, I wonder if people realize that like it's still kind of DIY.
Yeah, right.
It's not like you totally like got like one sponsorship one day and like ran with it and now you're only doing studio content, but people will realize like, okay, you are now building out your own studio.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
yeah.
like,
Dude, I'm ready for the storm. Unfortunately, I mean, don't get me wrong. I am thinking about this. I'm worried about this, and I understand where they're coming from. If people are like, yo, because what Steph is just talking about, I'm moving out of the bedroom. and I'm starting a new studio with nicer equipment, taking on more production work, both for the channel and and not for the channel. And it's not, it's not Electric Lady, but it's a good studio. And I know there's going to be people out there that go.
I want a review from you on your own studio website that's like 5 stars. It's a good studio, but it's like it's your own quote.
It's a good studio. So I get it. I think what people aren't going to see that I'm going to try and discuss as well as I can in these videos is that part of it was just motivated out of mental health. Like every time I would get in sort of the grind of getting a video done or getting a mix done, I wake up, I go to the bed, or I go to the desk, I work for 8 or 9 hours, I'm tired, I talk to my roommates and rinse and repeat for 5 days a week. And having people talk about like the second place and the third place.
The separation.
I had one place, and it was my bedroom, and it was fucking me up. So that's part of it, is like moving into a space where I don't feel like I'm doing that. And I'm very conscious of the fact that I want this studio to have a similar caliber gear as my studio back home. So affordable audio interface is going to be sitting right next to the Antelope $3,000 interface. Sometimes there's going to be videos that are recorded entirely on the $500 interface. Next to my new 8-inch Calis are some 3-inch Calis. Sometimes we're going to mix on those in headphones. There's like a modular studio inside of the bigger one. And I'll try to make that clear. But another thing, going back to like the isolation of content creation sometimes, is I want to make a series that is about the like physical community around me. I want to make a series where local artists are featured on the channel and people go see the video because they're excited to hear and learn about techniques and learn about a new artist that I think is really sick. And they're not just coming to the channel to learn about the techniques of an established artist. Even though those are still going to continue to happen. I want both of these to be new videos. And part of that is feeling like there is the social element that we were talking about before, that these shoots have, the human element of just like connection and interaction that is lacking so much in content creation. So hopefully the people back home who are worried about scaling up and how much it might not be relatable anymore are going to be able to take advantage of this, because there's going to be more mixing opportunities. I want to be able to record these local artists for free because I'm going to get a sponsorship. I'll get paid, and people can see that the channel is not only keeping these same roots, even if they might be sort of embedded in a higher budget room, but also expanding into new ways of helping local and smaller artists grow. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I'm going to cut right before you right before you do that.
No, you should keep it in. Go, we'll see.
But yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. That's like what I'm trying to do here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got this opportunity. This space is tiny. It's going to have a lot of quirks. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, it's how we're going to make this sustainable, right? Like, as it was, we had to book like 3 or 4 bands a day to even make it remotely affordable for the artists. And even then, like, we were going out of pocket for the crew, for the editing, for like whatever other costs. So they were only paying location costs. The idea is like, now I can preset everything. Maybe I have one crew member with me. It's a really easy day. And we don't have to do like these exhausting me and Michael were so fucking tired. Like, it's like load everything we own into the van.
Dude, I remember I'm fucking tired after those shoots too.
And like, there was one when we did the one at Outbox, we had to take my SUV and the van. Like, there was so much gear, it didn't even fit in one van. Like it's just too much, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm hoping too, like, this is now a space where like we can hold like little community gatherings, like tiny kickback shows, like, you know, like house show kind of vibes.
Totally.
Like, that being said, that's kind of a good segue too. Do you ever feel pressure from your audience's expectations, right? Like, sometimes it's tempting to chase what works versus what you want to try. And we've talked about that a little bit, but like the Beatles video, that was the most hate I've ever personally gotten on the internet. I don't know if you're someone who's naturally just like chill about those kind of things, or if it was getting to you and you were just like being positive about it. Personally, I was mad as hell. I was like downvoting every single negative comment on your video. Does that just come easy to you to be unbothered, or what was that like?
Not at all. I just try not to give too much attention to it. Otherwise, it'll hurt more. But I'm not happy you went through it, but I'm happy you can relate to it, because
I mean, most of it was directed at you. No, like you literally had a face attached to it. Like I didn't have that.
I think in some ways I was asking for it with that title, and I knew that. But I knew that title would work, and it fucking did. But at the same time, comments don't get easier. And it's one thing to say how much it bothers you, and of course there's the normal response of, you know, these people, they have shitty lives, they're taking it out on you, and all that might be true. But it's one thing to analyze that objectively, it's another thing to feel it. And to realize that, like what we were talking about before, these videos take 4 months sometimes to build. And you just gotta realize that, like, the vocal will be vocal. The people that like it won't say much. And that's something I've found to be true whenever I meet people on the street, whenever I talk to people out and about at shows or bars or whatever. Everyone's so nice. And if people really liked it, most of them are just going to move on. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, that was really sick. I'm going to go on to the next video.
Do you think that even was your audience with all that hate, or
No.
was that just randos from the algorithm?
Randos from the algorithm, and that happens every time. Happened with the Rage video. You know, anytime the video hits the algorithm really hard, you get people that have never seen your face before, have no idea who you are, and they will talk down to you. And that's just part of it. You have to accept that. And the only thing you can just kind of cling on to the fact that sometimes those people are like actually a good sign, that they're here because other people who are much more quiet are enjoying it, and they're seeing you for the first time, and they're not pissed off. So yeah, it was definitely hard. I mean, the Beatles was rough. There was a few other ones. Shorts can be particularly brutal, because that's even more of that. Like, you see my face for the first time, I'm only there
Like
for a minute.
out of context, totally.
Completely out of context, endless scroll. Nobody's happy when they're on the timeline. You know what I mean? They're already pissed off because that's what they're doing.
You come up in between like more earth-shattering news about the State of the Union. And
Yeah,
then it's like this blonde guy.
They just had like the worst like string of political shorts they've ever seen in their life, and then there's just some fucking dude saying like, you should put your microphone on this instead of what you're doing. No, I fucking
shouldn't. Fuck you.
Yeah,
you
they're
don't know
already
anything.
like ready. They're primed.
I think for me, the only downside to doing collabs with you has been that now we have an unbelievable demographic of audio nerds whereas before it was like people who liked music of any kind, a 40-year-old mom, you know, like whatever, anyone who liked music was following us. Now it's like a lot of audio nerds with very specific and niche knowledge bases who are like have things to say about our videos. And so now there's like a spotlight on us that I feel like suddenly, and I'm like, you know, we have to like be very good about things.
Totally.
And I didn't see that coming when we started doing this.
Generally, the people that are in my community, which are now in your community, are
Hello. Hi, guys.
They're very kind. They might be opinionated. They're usually very kind, and I've found shockingly skilled, which is crazy.
That's the thing, though, is I don't think it's the negative stuff doesn't come from your community. It comes from the algo that finds you that then finds us.
Yeah.
It's like they hate you on the Beatles video, and then they go, "Who's this bitch?" And then they link to me. And I think like the worst comment I ever got, which like I laugh about, it's like hysterical, was like, "Your piercings are ugly, but this video is very good."
I got one that said, "Fuck your eyebrows." And I don't know what they meant. And I don't know.
It's like, you know what, man? Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I have a question for you, but I'm not on camera.
Okay. Well, you want me to turn the camera on?
Wait, what?
Hey, bud.
Why are you going? Oh, I thought you were for my mic.
Other than the Mk.gee shoot, which was super simple for you and kind of easy going, between Billie Eilish and the Beatles, what were like the biggest challenges that you faced on those shoots? How did you kind of have to adapt? I know a lot of it also you kind of do a lot of prep work with the lighting plan. Were there any instances where there were challenges in the moment with your lighting that caused you issues that you had to adapt with in that time frame?
Okay, so Juice had no lighting. Juice/Beatles.
Big ass sail.
Yeah,
It's like a
I
sailboat.
set up a 20-foot frame overhead, which was just more dangerous than anything. We were trying to emulate the Beatles style, which was handheld and chaotic with lots of like action, crash zooms and stuff. We were all handheld and we were trying to communicate over headset, but the volume was so loud that we straight up couldn't hear each other. And so there were moments where I didn't get usable footage of what I needed because the cameras were all shooting different things or the same things. And so like I wish there was more footage of Dan during that performance.
Yeah,
and
I felt really bad about that.
And there were so many comments like, "Where's the footage of the guitar player?" And I'm like, it doesn't exist. Like because we could not hear each other over the drums really. And I was like yelling in the headset and I'm like, "Someone," and they have no idea what I'm saying. So that was just a drawback, was like in trying to emulate the chaotic style, we got chaos, which I still think handheld was the right choice for that. Like it came out like a dolly or like a smooth zoom, like that wouldn't make sense for that performance. Like handheld was the vibe.
Yeah.
But also it resulted in us not getting the shots that I wish that I had.
My favorite thing about that was when the Spirit Airlines went in the background, because it always reminded me of the Yellow Submarine. Just the yellow airplane in the back of the Beatles video is like, oh, that's so perfect. And you can hear it at one point. You have to really be actively listening, but you hear it go.
The Billy one was like the complete opposite with that. Like I obsessed over that for so long that like I don't think there was a single thing that could have happened. Like not like I literally made like 3D mock-ups, like renders of the entire space, like down to the, like, I don't know if you saw it. I like downloaded a 3D rendering software and made the most that simulated camera angles and everything, so I could see exactly from what angle I would see light stands in the shot, and like it was so I spent hours on it. I get great satisfaction over like planning a lighting plot in my head and it works exactly like I imagined, and I'm just like, I'm the fucking best, like no one's better than me, like I got this shit down. And that was mostly one of those times. The thing that I don't love about that shoot was just that the 3 cameras I have, like right now, my 3rd camera has died, right? And that's why Michael just popped into your screen. The 3rd camera that I have perceives skin tones very differently than the other 2. And so you could see when it cut to the 3rd camera, people's skin tones were like a lot more pink, a lot more saturated, and I have amazing colorists who did their best, but like that was like, it was that shoot that I was like, I need to get a 3rd camera, like I can't keep doing this, like it's ruining my, for me it's ruining my mental health.
I remember trying to color grade the Lumix to look like the Canons in the Raid shoot, and I did not do that. It didn't work.
Well, and also like Rift is so much smaller than the original location. Like everyone was like stacked on top of each other. So it was also difficult to create any kind of like soft like depth of field or like shallow focus. Everyone was kind of like stuffed into that corner. So the gimbal, I tried to get like the original, which was a Steadicam, but I couldn't because we're seeing the light stands, we're seeing the edges of people in the shot, you know. And so I also wish that we could have gotten like a much more wide frame, but we would have seen everything. You know, I was literally stuffed against a monitor like this, operating the close-up camera in a corner. Yeah. So does that answer your question? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, you've learned a lot.
Thanks.
You've learned a lot, but
Oh.
if you had to boil it down to like one thing, what's the biggest thing you've learned from all of our collaborations together?
That there is something subconsciously more powerful about a live performance.
So you can all go watch Seawall Sessions at
That the biggest recreations, because like this is not just like your videos that we do together doing well on your channel. You guys have seen my second channel at Haze Sessions. You know, most of them besides the Radiohead one have 5,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
decent.
still more than many of ours, but great.
But the Beatles one and the Billie Eilish one, the Billie Eilish one has more views than the Audiohaze video does.
Yeah.
And I think it's because that style of performance is very emotionally compelling. It's very, like I keep saying, human, and people feel that.
There's the replay value too, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna you like this shit, you're gonna listen to it 5-10 times.
Well,
You know.
like for example, all the Haze Session videos, they don't hit the same level, but the Haze Session ones are overdubs. They're take after take after take on top of each other. The live ones, the ones that we do, they do better as a standalone piece. And I think it's because there is this sort of like cohesion and melding of people and sort of blending and bleeding, microphone bleeding, and all this sort of production elements that the imperfection creates.
And it's one take.
Yeah.
There's no overdubs.
It creates this sort of more human thing.
Yeah. Our videos these are like their own versions of things. Like I take a lot of inspo from like Mahogany, for example.
Yeah, they're great.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to hear the studio version of this. I want to hear the Mahogany version.
Yeah.
You know, I want to hear the vocals booming in a cathedral. I want to hear like the live chorus behind them. And the location adds so much to it with Mahogany specifically.
I think on an audio side, NPR Tiny Desks have like a very huge influence to how I run the sessions here. So a lot of artists will be like, you know, do we have a stage monitor? Can we have in-ears? And I'm like, no, because I want the artists to be able to not rely on hearing themselves from some form of reference, pushing them their sound. I want them to be able to hear themselves in the room. I want them to be able to hear and listen intently to the musicians that they're playing with, because I feel like it creates a more authentic and raw performance.
Totally. That's what we messed up on with our NPR Tiny Desk when I gave you all monitors. That was so I could put a bunch of takes on top of each other and make a multicam.
Yeah.
You guys did a Tiny Desk?
Yeah, how to sound like NPR Tiny Desk.
Oh, I thought you guys like did a Tiny Desk.
Well, that was Taylor's submission for a Tiny Desk performance.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Well,
nice.
it was just like killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah, kill him. Okay, you woke up tomorrow and had unlimited resources. What are you doing? What's your concept? What's your video? What's your project? Unlimited resources.
I go to Electric Lady. I pitch them how to sound like Jimi Hendrix, and we do it on the original equipment that he used.
Now, quick pivot.
They follow me. I could send a little clip.
I'm shooting
them.
there in a couple weeks.
Yeah?
I'll just slide in their ear. Now, quick pivot from that. What are we doing next, Ricky? What's our next collaboration?
Next live session that we could do. You know, the Muse video is back on.
Is it?
Yeah, they brought him back. So we got the Jeff Buckley one. You could shoot that if you want. That's a live session.
I thought it was just like, if you want. like casual. Like I have no details about. If you want, just come through with a camera. Just
That's
figure.
That's
Like
basically
that's
what it'll
that's
be.
the perfect representation of this.
It will be
of
on a
this-
gimbal probably.
Yeah, like just show up day of.
But let's see. Zeppelin would be cool.
Zeppelin would be dope.
Sick.
You have a big enough
Yeah.
kick drum for it.
There you go. Yeah, and they've done. They did a BBC radio sessions. It's pretty iconic. It's not filmed though, so I wouldn't know where to start. But I've been itching to do a Zeppelin video,
What I'm hearing is we're doing Zeppelin next.
and it would crush. Because every video I've made about Zeppelin is crushed.
All right. Well, they heard it here. Now you have to deliver. Lock that in. All right. Ricky liked this.
I did.
Michael, what do you think? You like this?
I had fun.
All right. I don't really know how to close this out other than saying like the whole reason behind this video is because, you know, normally you do your behind the scenes breakdowns. I do mine.
You just didn't have anything.
I had nothing to talk about. Like I got in a pickup truck and held a camera and the rest was up to God.
No,
Like
it was cool to like break down more behind the scenes stuff. I think people
yeah.
have asked and been curious about it.
Well, if y'all liked this, we'll do more. And if you don't leave a fucking comment talking shit.
Or do, and we won't respond.
Yeah. Bye. Bye, everyone. I don't even know which camera to look at. Bye. We don't
Bye.
do podcasts. Bye.